Namaste students. I hope everyone stay safe and healthy in your home. Okay, that's good. So from the previous chapter, you know many compounds, that's importance and the properties. But by this chapter, we are going to study about more interesting and important properties of carbon. Okay. So you think what are all the things that contains carbon? Foods, clothes, living organism, you and me and everything you see that consists of few amount of carbon. Okay. Here the amount of carbon present in the earth crust is equal to 0.02% of carbon in the form of minerals like coal and petroleum. Then the atmosphere consists of 0.03% of carbon dioxide. So we know carbon, the symbol C, and the atomic number 6 and the mass number 12. So this is the electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2 and 2p2. We know the carbon is a non-metal and it is a tetravalent. Tetra means 4, you know. So the valency is equal to 4. So here the electron dot representation of the carbon, it contains 6 proton and 6 neutron and 6 electrons in the orbit. Okay, let me think. Why should we eat food daily? Because to lead a healthy and stable life. As such as every element would like to be attain a stable configuration. Now, how will it attain the stability? Maybe by gaining, losing or sharing its electron to form a bond. As you are familiar with ionic bond or metallic bond from the previous chapter, we know that ionic compounds are high melting point and boiling point. So it can conduct electricity in the solution or in molten states. Now carbon compounds, it almost poor conductor of electricity. So it contains a low melting point and boiling point as compared to ionic compounds. Then the forces of attraction between the molecules are not much strong. Few compounds are non-conductor of electricity, so it doesn't give rise to any ions. Okay, let it be. Previous year you learned about the valency. It means the combining capacity of various elements. Now only we said every element try to attain stable configuration as like noble gas or stable gas or rare gas by the bonding. We know that what is ionic bond? It means elements forming ionic bond achieve this by either gaining or losing the electrons from the outermost shells. Whether this is be in carbon, let's see. In the case of carbon, it has 4 electrons in the outermost shell and needs to gain or lose 4 electrons to attain the stable gas configuration. So there are 2 cases for carbon. If it could gain 4 electrons forming C4 minus anion, but it is difficult for the nucleus with 6 protons to hold on 10 electrons. The second case, if it could lose the 4 electrons, the forming C4 plus cation, but it require the large amount of energy to remove that 4 electron by leaving with 6 proton in its nucleus hold with just 2 electrons. Then how it will form bond? Okay, now these problems are overcome by sharing its valence electrons with other atom of the carbon or with the other atom of other elements. Not only carbon, many other element forms the molecules by sharing of electron. This leads to the covalent bonding. So now the covalent bonding is nothing but mutual sharing of electron. For example, there are 3 persons A, B and C. Okay, what is this represents? A, B, C here. So the B is a mutual friend for the both A and C. The same concept is applied here. For example, let us take the hydrogen molecule. So we know hydrogen has 1 valence electron. So now it needs another one electron to attain the stable configuration. So now what will do means it will share this electron with the other hydrogen atom. Also it needs one electron to attain the stable configuration. So it will share the electron with the hydrogen to form the hydrogen molecule by the covalent bonding. So do you know what is stable configuration? It means it should satisfy the octet rule. It means octa is nothing but 8. The number of valence electron should be 8. So now you may arise a doubt, but here there is no 8 electrons. Few exceptions are there. It means fully filled outermost shell is there, means also it is a stable configuration. So here it is fully filled. Now let us see the other example. O2 molecule, we know valence electron there is 6. Okay, so it needs 2 electrons to attain the stable configuration. So now what will do means this oxygen element share the 2 electron with other oxygen to form the O2 molecule by covalent bonding. Now you just check, there will be 8 electrons. By hiding one oxygen you just verify there is 8 electrons, hence it attains the stable configuration. Okay, next nitrogen molecule. So number of valence electron for the nitrogen is 5 electron. So here nitrogen, the 5 electrons are there. Here it needs 3 electrons to attain the stable configuration, and this nitrogen also needs 3 electrons to attain the stable configuration. Now these 3 electrons were shared by this nitrogen and these 3 electrons were shared by this nitrogen and form a covalent bond. Okay, so we have seen 3 example: hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen molecule. So by this we can say if it shared a pair of electron means it forms a single covalent bond. For example, we have seen hydrogen and chlorine and etc. Okay, if it shared 2 pair of electron means it forms a double covalent bond. Example, O2 molecule and carbon dioxide and etc. If it shared 3 pair of electron means it forms a triple covalent bond. Example, nitrogen molecule. So let us see another one example, the methane. The formula is CH4. Okay, so we know carbon has a 4 valence electrons and hydrogen has 1 valence electron. So 4 hydrogen, so it will have 4 valence electron. So now we know the carbon, so this is the structure of the methane. Okay, so how it is formed means we know carbon needs 4 electrons to attain the stable configuration and all the hydrogen needs 1 electrons to attain the stable configuration. So there is 4 hydrogen and 1 carbon is there. So this hydrogen give 1 electron and this, sorry, it will not give, it will share. Okay, again this hydrogen will share and this hydrogen will share and this hydrogen will share with the carbon and it form a bond. So it is the molecule methane. Have it clear? Here you see the video for get some more clearance, children.
Ah.
We can say that covalently bond molecules are seen to have strong bonds within the molecule, but intermolecular forces are weak. Here you can arise a doubt, what is the intermolecular forces? So as you know, what is the inter-school competition and intra-school competition? It means inter-school competition is nothing but students compete among different schools. Intra-school competition means the students compete among the same school. The same concept here. So intramolecular forces means the covalent bond between hydrogen and oxygen atoms in a water molecule. Have you got it? Intermolecular force means bonding between neighboring water molecules in ice. You just imagine, then only you will get a clearance. Okay, so by this we can say covalently bond molecules are seen to have strong bonds within the molecule, but intermolecular forces are weak. This gives rise to the low melting and boiling point of the covalent compounds. Since electrons are shared between the atoms, so there is no charged particle, isn't it? So such covalent compounds are generally poor conductor of electricity. Now we are going to learn about an interesting topic is the allotrope. It's nothing but one or more forms of a chemical element that occur in different physical state. In other words, we can tell that different structural modification of an element. You should not confuse this with an isotope. The difference between the allotrope and isotope is given here. It means allotrope is a different form of same chemical element, but the isotope is different forms of atomic structure of the same chemical element. So I given the example, diamond, graphite, fullerenes are allotropes of the carbon. C12, C13, C14 are the isotopes of the carbon. There are few allotropes of the carbon, but here they have given only the familiar three, that is diamond, graphite, fullerenes. We can learn about one by one. Okay, now the first one, diamond. Each carbon atom is bonded to 4 other carbon atoms, forming a rigid 3-dimensional structure. And we know this is the hardest known natural substance, and it also can be synthesized by subjecting a pure carbon to very high pressure and temperature. So by this we can prepare the synthetic diamond, but the only difference between the natural diamond and the synthetic diamonds is nothing but it will be very small. Then we know it is used in jewelry and some industrial uses like cutting, drilling, grinding and etc. So here given the 3D structure of the diamond. Next one, graphite. Here each carbon atom is bonded to 3 other carbon atoms in the same plane, giving a hexagonal array being placed in the layers one above the other. It's forming the graphite. One of these bond is a double bond, and thus the valency of the carbon is satisfied because the valency of the carbon is 4. Here the physical properties alone difference between that diamond and graphite. So the graphite is smooth and slippery, and we know this is the very good conductor of the electricity unlike other non-metals. We have studied this in the chapter 3. So graphite powder is used as a dry lubricant. Here the given the structure of the graphite. The next carbon allotrope is a fullerene. It's a molecule of varying sizes composed entirely of the carbon, which takes the form of a hollow sphere, ellipsoid or tube. The first one to be identified was C60, which has the carbon atoms arranged in the shape of a football. So since this looks like the geodesic dome designed by an US architect Buckminster Fuller, the molecule is named as the fullerene. So it is used in medical field such as X-ray or MRI contrast agent, and potential medicinal use such as it is used to binding in a specific antibiotics to structure to the target resistant bacteria such as cancer cell. Okay, today we end up with this concept. You should have continuous practice on electron dot structure, then only we get a concept clearance. Revise all till we learned. धन्यवाद student.